Johnson, Chair of the Nominating Committee for the 2021 election of new board members to be seated January 1 of 2022. My fellow committee members are Barry Barth and Lee Stevens, both of whom are CPINE's POA board members. They and everyone behind the scenes have my gratitude for making the election process run smoothly, at least to this point. Before I introduce the candidates, I'd like to review our election process so you understand it and know where we are in the process. It starts with a call for applications to be in by August the 1st. Subsequent to that, interviews are completed and nominations from the committee are announced the end of August 31st. Candidates nominated by petition are due October the 1st. This year, there are no candidates by petition. Our Meet the Candidate events occurs, as we're doing today, in late October. Our date of record to participate in the election is October the 1st, meaning you need to be registered and have paid your dues by October the 1st. November the 1st, ballots are sent out by email through Easy Vote, our vendor that's handling the electronic part of the election this year, or regular mail for members for whom we do not have email addresses yet. We're hopeful we'll get them all in soon. Our bylaws require that we have 20% of our members participate in the election. So it's very important that everybody get their ballots in. Please be sure you check your email if you're going to get a ballot via email. Please be sure, if you don't see one very early in November, to check your spam or your junk folder. December 1st is the deadline for all ballots to be returned, which means they need to be postmarked December the 1st. We'll announce our results by December the 20th. So that's the process. That's what we're engaged in here. So now I'd like to introduce the candidates. We have 3 openings and 3 candidates, Lori Wellinghoff and Jonathan Shurey, who are running for their first term, and Paula Scanlon, our current president, running for a second term. Our goal is for you to meet them, hear what they have to say, have a sense for why they're interested in running, so you will have an informed way to vote. Additionally, I want to say there's a sharp contrast between Paula running as the current president for a second term and our other 2 candidates who are early in their exposure to the organization and have not served on the board yet. So as a result, we're going to have a set of questions for Lori and Jonathan, and then we'll have questions for Paula. And I think you'll see that that's appropriate when we're done. Now, I'd like to start the process with inviting each candidate in sequence to respond to the questions as they pertain to them. And the order will be Lori, Jonathan, and we'll wrap up with Paula. So Lori, I'd like to begin with you. Please tell us a bit about yourself and your qualifications.
Well, I came to Sea Pines as a child with my family on vacations and summers. We had a second home here, so I've been coming here since the early 70s. My father was a developer in Sea Pines who worked with Charles Frazier back in the day, all the way up to and through the 90s. And some of the Sea Pines developments that you might be familiar with that he did were the Twin Oaks Villas and the Atlantic Point enclave of homes. My family actually lived in Sea Pines full time from 1980 to 1990. But I was already in college, so I did not live here full time then, though my brother went to high school at Sea Pines Academy, which is now Hilton Head Prep. So we have a nice history, but had not been here since approximately 89. And then a little over a year ago, my husband and I, somewhat on an informed whim, decided to leave Cincinnati, where we've lived all our lives, and move to Sea Pines. And that was in September of 2020. When we were in Cincinnati, I owned a residential real estate architecture, design, and construction company called Diggs, which I sold in 2019. And since this is a property owners association where a lot of the things that matter to us are matters of home and hearth, I think that gives me a pretty unique perspective, being one of the top real estate design and construction companies in the Cincinnati area. As well, something that gives me a little bit of a leg up, I think. For 15 years, I was in Cincinnati. I was a volunteer president of the Hyde Park Square Association, which is the neighborhood in which I lived, which was comprised of about 250 plus small businesses, mostly brick and mortar merchants and restaurants. And the organization functions similarly to a property owners association. So for 15 years, I've served in that position. I think everyone would say we made some great progress in a community, by the way, which was founded in the mid 1800s. So progress is a difficult thing when you have that much history. So that's a little about me. Is that good, Greg?
Very good. Thank you, Lori.
Welcome.
So we'll go to your second question. What caused you to want to get involved and invest your time in the Sea Pines POA?
Well, I've always given back to the communities where I live, period. That's the simple answer. But I really enjoy helping organizations initiate and deliver advancements that are for the betterment of the constituents that they serve. I think there's always an opportunity to, what's the Girl Scout motto? Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, the other is gold. I think that there are a lot of things that are right here, and other things that are ready to modify, evolve for the betterment of everyone. And I look forward to participating in that.
Super, thanks.
Oh.
Last question is, what would you like to see the Property Owners Association accomplish in the future?
I think there should be vigilance in our sustaining the Sea Pines naturalist setting that Charles Fraser so masterfully established. I think we need to maintain a respectful balance between full-time residents, short-term rental populations, to ensure that we don't lose the Sea Pines equilibrium, enjoyability, peacefulness, and property values. I think we should identify and effectuate advancements that secure Sea Pines continuing to be a community that is admired the world over. For those of you that haven't heard of the podcast, 278 to Lighthouse Road, it's a wonderful podcast that is interviews with individuals who helped make Hilton Head and Sea Pines in particular what it is. And it's giving me a lot of like what they were thinking to consider about moving forward. And then lastly, I'd like to help ensure that Sea Pines gets its fair share of attention and funding and services from the town of Hilton Head, the county of Beaufort, and the state of South Carolina. We contribute mightily and need to make sure that those attentions are equitably sent our direction.
Super. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jonathan, now it's your turn. Same
All
questions. Right. I'll read them for you so you don't have to worry about remembering. Sure. Tell us about yourself and your qualifications.
Sure. Thanks, Greg. And thank you to the nominating committee. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. So we have some Cincinnati people here. And my family's been coming to Hilton Head and making memories since 1972. So my family and I officially made the move to Sea Pines in 2019. And professionally, I serve as asset manager for UCLA. I've been in my position for about 6 years. And a little bit about my background, I have an MBA and a number of finance and real estate related professional designations. So prior to my work with UCLA, I worked for both large and family owned commercial real estate companies.
Super. Thank you. So what caused you to want to get involved and invest your time with us in the POA?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have been elected to the Club Course POA Board of Directors, and I'm currently serving as treasurer for that organization. And as you know, I currently volunteer on the joint SPPOA and CSA Land Use Management Committee and the Neighbors Helping Neighbors Task Force. So I feel like being part of those organizations, we accomplished a lot, and I worked really closely with some really hardworking folks, and they've really inspired me to want to invest my time with SPPOA and give back to the community and see if we can accomplish some of the same things.
Super, super. So what would you like to see the POA accomplish in the future?
Sure. I think encouraging the advancement of, our ideas and projects that promote the interest of property owners. I think if we have improved communication with the resort and other commercial entities within Sea Pines, that will help advance the interest of the owners. And similar to how what Lori was speaking to, if we encourage positive change and interaction with the town of Hilton Head, I think that the SPPOA serves as a vehicle to do that. And so I think as an organization, we have that ability to affect positive change within not just Sea Pines, but in our local community.
Super. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
So Paula, you're next. Two different questions for you. Being the president is a very time demanding role, which I know you're well aware of. So what interested you in running for a second term on the POA board? I could rephrase that. What in the world interested you to decide to run for a second term?
There we go. Yeah, I know. You'd think I'd run in the opposite direction. But anyway, thank you, Greg, and thank all of you for joining us this afternoon. There are a couple of unfinished projects that I've been working on that I would like to have an opportunity to sort of continue the stewardship of that are sort of spilling into next year. One of them is hiring IMC Resort Services. They are a professional association management company. And for many years, we had a contract with CSA to handle much of our administrative support, billing, annual report, board meetings, minutes, membership renewal, annual meeting, annual election, you name it. They were there to help us. And we believe that this led to a lot of confusion between what the different roles are between CSA and Sea Pines POA. So in order to add a little bit more clarity and to be able to access information from subject matter experts, additional subject matter experts, we decided to hire IMC. We began the transition 2 months ago, so it's early on, and there's a lot of, institutional knowledge transfer that we need, and just a lot of ramping up. Another sort of project, I call it Advanced Digital Tools, which is the use of the online election services and to also use our online capabilities for member renewal. These are brand new again this year, the baby steps. And again, we need an evaluation to make sure that it's working or any mid-course corrections. Another project is advanced budget management. We've moved the billing months for membership renewal from January through March to October through December. That way we'll have an idea of what our budget is when we're in the actual budget planning mode. And again, we need to reevaluate, see how it's working for us. So those are kind of examples of things that are going on right now that are spilling into next year. Thanks.
Great, thanks. There's a lot of things going on that will continue into next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you point to a couple of accomplishments that you're particularly proud of as either a board member or as the president of the organization?
Thank you. Well, there's about 4 over the past, year and a half, 2 years, whatever that come to mind. One is the increase in communications. And when I first came on the board, our communication with the members was through mail. And today we have email addresses for about 70% of our membership base. So it enables us to put a lot of newsletters out, reminder emails, ballots, member renewals, what have you. Also through that, we are able to put our finger on the pulse of our membership and all Sea Pines property owners. And that is through using their survey mechanism so that we can reach out and find out how things are going, what's important, how we're doing, and what have you. Again, this was another baby step. There are so many opportunities to increase our communication, and really it needs to become much more two-way. And so again, efforts are to make that grow as well. Thank you. Thirdly, or secondly, whatever, is the seapinespoa.com website. And we launched that last year. And the site greatly expands the information that's available at our members' fingertips. One of the things is a directory that we put there. I mean, it sounds kind of basic, but literally a member directory of property owners just did not exist. The other thing is archives, which go all the way back to 1973. And it's full of institutional knowledge as well as recent annual reports and newsletters. As you know, we just launched our new brand, Sea Pines Property Owners Association. And if you go into the archives and you look at the 1973, if you look at the 1973 legal documents, we are referred to as the Sea Pines Property Owners Association. It's like, who knew? So we're tripping our way along. A third project was increased transparency in how we operate. And if you continue along on the website, you will see an entire tab that is dedicated to board affairs. And we publish the meeting schedule. And then 1 week before each board meeting, we will publish the agenda as well as the board package. So you gain insight into what we're discussing and what we're voting on. We don't really publish minutes right away because they have to be approved at the next board meeting, but within 24 hours, we'll publish a summary that is written by Alex Cruden, our wonderful Alex Cruden, and that is posted for everyone to see. And you will also have access to our quarterly financial statements, which is, we feel, very important communication. Lastly, is the low decibel leaf blower policy. And I worked with the leaf blower task force who had researched technology and sort of where we are today, and shepherded it through our board. And then we took it, sent it over the transom to CSA and to the CSA board of directors. But one of the other things that I did was I sent it to the town of Hilton Head, to the mayor, to our councilman, Tom Leddix, to make sure that the town was aware of what the property owners are concerned about and what is one of the issues with them. And quite frankly, we are well ahead of where the town is in this regard. Lastly, and this isn't even my project, but I just think it's worth mentioning because it was so terrific and it really does deserve our gratitude. And that is the work of Dan Aguazo and the Land Use Management Committee, which began at ASPO and became a joint committee in the last year, 18 months or so. While we, our board co-funded the land use monitor position over at CSA this year and last year, over the past 4 years and maybe even 5, well before I was on the board. This committee researched, updated, got legal approval for new land use management rules, and most especially with an enforcement mechanism. CSA put them into effect on July 1st of this year, and that is quite the accomplishment. So we've done a lot, and there's a lot more to do. In short, I think it's been a very fast 3 years on the board, and the board today is very lively, very engaged. They're all a pleasure to work with. And I believe all 3 candidates here bring energy, lots of ideas, and real initiative to the party. So if reelected, I look forward to another term on your board. Thank you, Greg.
Great. Thank you, Paula. And thank you for your hard work and for your leadership. Can't wait to see what happens in the future.
Me either.
Well, there you go. You've met our candidates. You've heard from them, their qualifications, their desires, and their hopes as board members. And speaking for the board and the nominating committee, we hope that you all who are watching are fully informed and have enjoyed the conversation this afternoon. Thank you for watching, and expect to receive your ballots very soon, as November 1st is rapidly approaching. And remember, if we've got your email, we're going to send you an electronic ballot from Easy Vote. So look for that in your inbox. If we don't have your email, please get it to us as fast as you can, but we'll send you a ballot in the regular mail system. And again, you should expect to get that very soon after November the 1st. The votes need to be returned no later than December the 1st, or be postmarked December 1st for them to count. Remember, we do need to have 20% of our members voting to have a valid election. So your vote does count. Please get it in. If you have any questions about our process, or if you don't receive a ballot, you can contact info@cpinespoa.com. Thanks very much for joining us, and please get your ballots in soon. Thanks.
You.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I think we're still on record, so